Nau mai e te rā, manakatia mai tēnei ropu, arahina mai mātou mahi, arahina mai mātou whakaro. He awhi ia mātou I te kaha me tō aroha, haumi e, hui e, tāiki e.
Tāiki e.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Tēnā koe.
Well, kia ora everybody, and welcome to our manuhiri, Arama, one of our candidates standing in this year's local body elections. This is us, Climate Action Tai Tokerau, and also Electrify Northland, and we're here together to provide an opportunity for the Māori candidates standing in the elections this year to have a bit of a yarn and get to know them, and maybe to ask some probing questions in particular with regard to climate and the environment, and other subjects which are close to our kaupapa. So we are recording this session just for those who are on board this evening, and we intend to make it publicly available for those who weren't able to make it tonight. So yeah, people could be well informed about who they might want to vote for. We may as well get underway. So Arama, welcome. Thank you for taking your time out this evening, and why don't we hand it over to you to just give us a brief kōrero about yourself and your motivations for standing. Give us a bit of a backdrop as to what your aspirations are this election round.
Yeah, cool. Well, kia ora everybody. Yeah, as mentioned, my name is Arama Morunga. I'm from the Hokianga and Ngāti areas, born and raised here in Whangarei. My wife and I and our 4 children live in Whangarei and will most likely die in Whangarei. My background, so my learning journey and my professional career has for the most part been around improving Māori outcomes. So the wide sectors, health, education, social, on local government, and iwi, those sectors that I've worked in, they all have had a connection to improved outcomes for Māori. And so me standing for the Northern Regional Council in the Taraki Māori ward, constituency, I'm standing for 3 things, essentially whakapapa, kaitiakitanga, and oranga. So the thing with whakapapa is it has us bound and anchored through ancestral connection. It's a responsibility to the past, present, and future generations. And the thing with whakapapa is it has us look, think, and act deeply when responding to opportunities, challenges, solutions that impact our whānau, our whenua, our moana, and our awa. As an example, when I'm talking about whakapapa, I still currently work senior as a director for Te Pairua, and Te Pairua is Te Tai Tokerau's only tikanga-led impact investment group, and the work that I did with them is to better reflect the what, the how, the why their products and service better reflects the population that they serve today and into the future. And so with kaitiakitanga, we may know that kaitiakitanga embodies guardianship and stewardship, but in the context that I'm standing for is to care for, is to tiaki the taiao, so the environment, our freshwater and coastal areas. Kaitiakitanga is also the protection of community, but way of building and strengthening community resilience in preparation for times of natural disasters, right? So as an example, having led and advised the civil defence response in the 2020 regional drought that we experienced, and connecting with marae, with hapu, and even I want to call them the defence force, essentially the army, to deliver, hundreds and thousands of litres of water to marae to fill their tanks and use them as a hub, so other whānau, other community members can have a source of fresh water. So as an example, last one, Oranga, and we know that it's been well-being and prosperity, but in this case, I'm talking about the regional economic growth that is fair and equitable. So that being the key difference, fair and equitable. And so that being said, let's recognize and harness the already existing Māori business network to spread opportunities and wealth across the entire region. So as an example, something that when I was a part of Te Parua, we were leading and implementing Māori business continuity plans. Oh, not full, sorry. It was some of Northland's biggest Māori employed businesses. And because what we know is the more whānau we employ, the more we have that are not employed. You know what I mean, right? And so the more whānau we have employed, that means the more they can provide for their whānau, the more they have a purpose for their whānau, and the more they can give back to the whānau. And so it was our key driver just to keep whānau employed. And so that was as a result of post-COVID-19 lockdowns, because so many businesses were getting shut down left, right, and center. And we knew that the impact was going to be far greater on our more vulnerable communities than others. So, recap, things I'm standing for, whakapapa, paitiakitanga, and oranga.
Kia ora. Kia ora, Arama. And just to reinforce, you're a current member in the Northern Regional Council, ne?
So I'm standing in the Northern Regional Council Te Raki Māori constituency. So that's it. Well, we can't get them confused for the Māori ward. So there's 4 candidates, 2 seats.
Kia ora, kia ora. Well, thank you for that comprehensive answer.
Yes.
How will you work to ensure that Māori voices, perspectives, and decision-making rights are meaningfully represented and respected in council processes? Because that's been
I've been asked this question many a times before, but I actually haven't had it asked to me in this way. And the difference being, how would I, if I was fortunate enough to become a councillor, meaningfully and genuinely implement, I'm going to call it Mātauranga Māori, or the voice of Māori within council. So I love that question, right? And this is how I see it. Well, first off, I'm sitting in the Te Raki Māori constituency, so obviously I believe in the need for Māori voice. First off, that further to that though is when it comes to having a Māori voice, although I am Māori, it's not just my voice that I carry, right? So I carry with me, as mentioned earlier, whakapapa, so I'm carrying voices from the past, now and into the future. I'm carrying the voice of whānau, hapu, and iwi. I'm carrying a voice that hasn't always been heard, hasn't always been listened to, right? And so with that, it bears a responsibility, right? And I'm here. I've got big shoulders. I'm here to carry that kōrero. I'm also a pauore in Te Wharitu Taua Aotearoa. And so what I mean by that is I'm a graduate of the National School of Weaponry under Papita Sharples. And so the use of Mātauranga Māori is embedded in all that I do. Mātauranga Māori is, Te Reo Māori, Mātauranga Māori, Tikanga Māori, everything Māori is it's in my makeup, it's in my vision, it's in my rear vision, it's all that I do. The thing that I'm more that excites me more is how can I do a better job of having Mātauranga Māori be more genuinely expressed in all the areas that I connect into, right? And so the thing with the Northern Regional Council is there's already been some efforts made, and there's already Mātauranga Māori in there, and some of the frameworks and the work programs and the projects. What I see my role or my passion is to give them a bit more of an injection, so that it's seen as something that enhances, that refines, that boosts, as almost a motivator boost, versus it's just something we have to tick, and it's something that my program says I have to do. And so yeah, sorry, I'm probably going on a bit, eh?
No, Arama, it did make me, your answer did make me wonder, have you seen, talking about Māori representation and voice, have you seen an example of where you think there have been shortcomings in council around how they, give due respect to Māori perspectives in a honest, genuine way? Yeah, I don't know if you have an example in mind, but if you did, how would you have done things differently to improve?
Yeah.
What happened?
So I have been a former staff member of the North Regional Council, and part of my role there was the cultural capability uplift for the organization. And so what I am going to say is, operationally, there are so many people in there who have a heart and a ngako to Te Ao Māori, and the beauty that Te Ao Māori has, right? That is definitely within the organization. I think the disconnect is between the operations and the governance. And so when the operations are trying to do the best that they can within the mana or the control that they can only go so far without that support or advocacy or championing of Māori representation, having a Māori voice, and yeah, so at a governance level, it's not always upheld. Yeah, Māori representation. I mean, and when I see that as like giving effect in mana to Māori decision making, right? Yeah.